Isn't school hard? You guys have trouble with school? Anybody? You're too shy to raise your hands. I had a lot of trouble in school. High school I did okay, but my test scores were low enough that when I got into college, I had to take remedial math and English courses. This put me behind a little bit. Then a year into school, I took 2 years off to serve a mission for the church that I attend. Again, this set my future behind, this time by 2 years. But my gain, the things that I learned for myself during that time period is priceless to me. I learned things about myself, I learned things about people in general that I couldn't have learned in any other way. And I know that I'm more successful now because of what I gave then. When I returned home, I started school again immediately. And this time I was a completely new person academically. I graduated this last May with honors. That's something that I never... Someone wanted to clap. I heard it. Come on. Okay. That's a big deal for me. That's something that I never thought I could have done before. You see, before when I was in school, I was one of those people that did did all the homework assignments and literally read every page of the textbook. I had this idea that if I read it all, then I would learn it, and that didn't really work for me. But I'd still bomb the tests. Then, when I got into college and I returned home from my mission, I became one of those people that in school I hated them. You know those people that just made learning look easy? They could just lounge back, soak in the information, ace the test. You guys know people like that? You guys probably are those people. You weren't raising your hands earlier. Well, that's what I became. And like I said, I graduated with honors, and that was a huge deal for me. So in school, I majored in business. I had this idea that if I was the owner of a company, I could own my time. I envisioned owning a company, watching the money flow in, whether I was there or not. I gained that desire from a job that I had in high school. The job was for a car lot, and my title was Lot Boy. Not the most glamorous title, but it worked for the time. So for lunch, I'd go across the street to get a burger, maybe some fries. I love to eat. I know I'm kind of skinny, but I really like to eat. So in order to get enough, it would cost me about what I'd make in an hour. So one day, standing there in line, getting ready to place my order, it just hit me. An hour of my day was worth way more than a burger and some fries. Maybe 3 burgers, I don't know. And I decided at that moment that I wanted to work for myself so that I wasn't paid by the hours I spent at work. So I could be paid based on my investment, my hard work. So these things could make me money even when I wasn't at work. So now I've graduated from school. I have a successful company locally. I'm where I always hoped I'd be at this stage in my life. But still I find that I'm bound by time. I don't own it the way that I thought I would as the owner of a company. My dad's sitting in the back, and one of his expressions that he always shares with me is that we all have just 24 hours in a day. What we do with those hours is our choice. There are plenty of things out there that are good and important, but they're not all of equal value. So what do you do with this time? As you become more successful, the demand for your time will increase. And those minutes and hours are going to become more and more valuable. So again, I ask, what do you do with this time? Do you offer it to a family member, to a stranger? Do you use it to make more money? To enhance the community that you live in? I hope when I'm finished in just a few minutes, you'll be able to answer this question for yourself. That you'll determine what is of the most importance to you. Think of success. What does it look like to you? For me, success looks like a thriving company that helps fuel our local economy, provide some jobs. It looks like my wife, Natalie, my son, Damon, and I going for a walk in the middle of the workday because it's sunny out. My wife loves walks, and because I can. To me, success looks like speaking to all of you this afternoon, sharing some principles that have guided my life. There are plenty of decisions, plenty of things out there to occupy our time. But balancing out what you as an individual feel to be important and following through on that is what I consider to be success. I want to share with you 2 principles which have guided me in living what I consider to be a successful life and career thus far. Now, the first principle is saying yes when you recognize an opportunity. Some of the best decisions I've ever made could have easily been turned down because I was too busy at the time, or because they weren't what I was planning for. You can't know what you're capable of until you push beyond what you thought you could do. Now, it's okay to get burnt out. Getting burnt out is the only way to know when you've really given it 100%, because that burnout feeling comes right after that, right? That's no way to live your life all the time, as River told us today, right? I mean, we don't want to get burnout, but doing so will help you to see where your limits really are. I guarantee they're beyond where you think possible. Try. Fail. Get burnt out. I thrive on deadlines. I love watching things come together and just taking advantage of every opportunity that I'm able to. I started my paper shredding company, as Greg was mentioning, when I was a full-time college student. While in school, I noticed a niche, a need to be filled in the community. I didn't want to wait for someone else to do it, so I started it then. Looking back, it was almost idiotic to start my company then. My wife and I were newly married, working lousy part-time jobs, not at the car lot, it was another one that I didn't like either. And, and we were just barely getting by. But as I look back, there were some incredible opportunities that I was able to take advantage of because I started my company then, because I acted then. And I got so much more out of my degree because I was able to apply the things I was learning in school daily. The second principle that I try to live by is giving back now. I've been asked to serve on committees, to speak, right? All when I didn't have the time to spare. Truthfully, I didn't have time to get ready for this talk, and I don't have time to be here now. I actually have a meeting that I need to go to, more or less, when we get out of here. But I've gained so much from this experience. I'm so glad that I've done this. Oftentimes we think about people giving back when they're old, when they can spare the time. I want to change that. We should give back now. Giving is a sacrifice. It should hurt a little bit. If you're truly passionate about something, you should be willing to give something up for something that you truly care about. Now, there's a selfish aspect of giving. There is so much that there is to be, that you can gain from it. In the service I've done, the volunteering I've done, I've gained so much. I've made some incredible connections. It's given my company quicker and better exposure than would have been possible in any other way. This wasn't my intention going into these opportunities, but it's an incredibly rewarding unintended result. I want to challenge all of you something. Find what success looks like to you. Think about it, visualize it, accomplish that, make it yours. Second challenge, don't limit your successes, your impact, to purely economic, to purely financial. If you're passionate about education, give back to education. If you're passionate and you care about animals, give back to animals. For me, I love this local community. I love my church. I love my wife and my family. And those are the things that I will dedicate my life to. Remember, we all have just 24 hours in a day. What will you do with it? Thank you.